The phenomenon is called dopamine hijacking. And what's happening today is the best book that I will recommend here, can you find near EL, is this book called Hooked. So I've talked about this before with you guys. Okay. Say it again. Foundations for? Foundations for. So I won't go into detail here. There's a different part that I'm really interested in. Okay, so the basic premise of Hooked is they went back and they studied the psychology from the 70s and 80s, how to hook a kid. And so I can hook a kid on anything. And basically what I'm doing is I am hooking them on dopamine. Dopamine is the great enemy of freedom. Dopamine drives compulsive behavior. So what happens with dopamine is our sense of time speeds up, our mental space shrinks, we become fixated on getting to the next level of Candy Crush. The problem here is this. When you study what's going on with kids, so I stop and think, ask yourself this for 1 second. So parents are putting kids in front of an iPad to keep them quiet, little guys, in front of an iPad to keep them quiet so they can do their chores. So why would a toddler stay fixated on an iPad? That's an interesting question. What is it about? Is it that they find the iPad? You've seen these pictures. What is it about this that is keeping them glued? And what it is it's very easy to trigger dopamine in a tiny brain. As they get older, we have to refine the techniques to keep the dopamine pumping. So we use things like variable reward, near misses. There's all these tricks that they've learned, looking at the psychology of all this, to hook the kid. And they are being hooked in every aspect of their life. And this is what America has done. What America did was they allowed negative liberty to be abused so that guys could create foods or create all these maladaptive modes of dealing with stress. That's the key. Why? Why is dopamine hijacking so maladaptive? Apart from the fact that your time shrinks, you can't choose, because what happens to the kid is they end up seeking dopamine for its own sake. The reward is not the stupid, like seriously, I don't get how anybody, I once said to my daughter, I caught her playing Candy Crush, and I said to her, so when you get to level 4, why exactly, I want to come back to what she said to me in 1 second, why exactly do you need to go to level 5? Well, you do, Dad! And it wasn't a calm, it wasn't like a reason, it was somebody that was in a red brain prime. And the reason is because Candy Crush has figured out, and they studied this, how to keep the dopamine pumps going. The kid is after another shot of dopamine because dopamine blocks out your awareness. What they are doing is running away from freedom, running away from self-awareness. The last thing that Susan and I ever wanted to say is that we want kids to learn how to run away from stress. That's not the point. We want them to deal with stress. We want them to embrace stress. Stress is what drives growth. It's when it's too much that we have trouble. So I spent a while reading what kids say, teens, what they say about the reasons why they play these games. The games are all really stupid. And so my apologies, but they are. So I want to give you one example to prove my point. Susan, can I have like 7 more minutes? Thank you. Okay. So this is my favorite example. There's a guy down, I believe he's at Emory, professor, and he got really scared about Minecraft, I think it was. So there's a game within the game, and the idea here is once I hook the kid, then I get them to buy stuff. And so what they're buying now is they're buying weapons, or what mom and dad are buying. They're buying weapons, or they're buying whatever it is. Chickens. So Bogost, his guy's name's Ian Bogost, and what he wanted to do was expose that this is a real bad thing. So I have a feeling I've talked about this game before. Have I talked with you guys about Cow Clicker? Okay, hands up if you've never heard about Cow Clicker. Okay, that's enough for me. Okay, so Cow Clicker is the ultimate example of why this is so scary. So he designs this game, and basically what you do to show how absurd the whole thing is. So he designs the game where you go on the website and there's a funny looking cow, and you click on the cow and you collect the cow. And 6 hours later, a new cow will be posted, and you can click on that and add that to your cow collection. But if you give me $100 or whatever it was, you can buy your next cow right now. So he designs this to show how the games work. And basically, the way the game works is you get a shot of dopamine when you see the new cow. It triggers dopamine. I want that. That's all dopamine is. I want that. So when you get it, dopamine is deflated. Dopamine, oh, that sucks. Unless I get another cow. And then I get another shot of dopamine. So what happened to Bogost was the game goes viral almost instantly, and the money is pouring in. So he thinks, well, I'll explain why this is so bad in a couple of months. And he makes a fortune. So then finally, he thinks this has gotten out of hand, and he announces he's going to have a cowpocalypse. So the users start writing in saying, no, we'll pay you not to have the rapture. So now a new wave of money comes in. So, okay, the rapture can wait. So finally, his moral sense kicks back in eventually. He's made a lot of money, and he has the rapture. And now what gets really interesting is people kept on coming back to the site, which is a pasture, for months, hoping the cows would reappear. Yeah, I know. So what's driving this behavior is it's not very hard to manipulate dopamine. Dopamine is deep inside the brain. We have dopamine receptors all over, but the ones we're worried about drive the reward system. When you are in this state, you are not choosing to play cow clicker. Your behavior is limbic.